I do have bad days more often than I would like to, but on those days you just have to like look back and see how far you've come. I used to throw up 11 times a day, and that's insane to me now.
Oh, I love this. Hello, sir. So we all have anxiety around social media, and a lot of people will say, why don't you just close your phone, close your laptop? But I'm not actually sure that that's the solution. So many people and organizations use social media as a place to shift the conversation around mental health and anxiety. Like Caroline Prokos, who's one of the thousands of young people who started her own YouTube channel as a place to deeply and openly share her struggles.
My type of eating disorder is anorexia binge purge. So basically you just eat a ton of food, thousands and thousands of calories, and within an hour, and then you just throw it up right after. And that is what I got into. And it's really just like a straight pull to hell from there. Once you figure out how to throw up, I went through many a round of treatment. I was hospitalized, I went through outpatient. I think the part that gets me is I knew that I was so sick, and I knew that I needed to eat and I needed to get food in my body, because sometimes I was afraid that I wasn't going to wake up the next morning, and I just never want to get to that place ever again.
Like many of us, Caroline has basically every social media account and was using them in a way that was destructive to her mental health and feelings of self-worth.
When I was in my eating disorder, I would follow accounts pro-Mia is what it's called, and there's platforms and like chat rooms and stuff where people will literally just sit there and compare numbers, and you can really get wrapped up in it, and it can become your whole entire world. Instagram is just everyone's highlight reel, so of course people edit their photos to make themselves look skinnier, to delete their acne, and I used to follow a lot of people who made me feel pretty about myself, because I used to follow a lot of Victoria's Secret models and obsessed with the way they looked and their thigh gaps, and it just wasn't good for me. It was just bad, and I think I was just addicted to seeing their life and how it was just so much better than mine. And just recently I unfollowed a lot of people on Instagram, and I just don't need that in my life right now. I'm still trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be, and I just really want to keep positive and keep moving forward.
I'm a little bit hesitant to post this on the internet because it's very personal.
Caroline's YouTube channel gives honest and filtered testimony of her struggles with bulimia. And even though that opens her up to a world of cyberbullying, she feels it's important to share her story.
Right now, I'm just really trying to focus on repairing relationships with the people who have been trying to help me for so long.
So many people go through it, and not enough people talk about it. I had such a good support system, and I'm so thankful for that. My friends and my family were very understanding, and they tried to help me as much as possible. But until you want it for yourself, you can't want it for someone else.
Losing so many things lately. Therapy was fine. I'm kind of like a little sad after.
I think a whole other side of social media is the positive accounts and organizations, and there's so many accounts on Instagram that are like pro-recovery, and they send you like little messages and people's success stories and stuff like that. And those are the stories that really got me through when I was like in a dark place, because if you can see someone else get out of their hole and like become who they are and like thrive, and that was really helpful for me. I'm so glad that I've come this far with it. I used to throw up 11 times a day, and that's insane to me now.
I'm a sophomore, I go to NYU, it's currently Monday morning.
Social media is a double-edged sword, but it's definitely brought me closer to so many people who have also struggled with what I'm struggling with. To get DMs from people saying I've helped them, it's just really heartwarming, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something good for the world, even though my subscribing base is not that large. But I would love to have seen girls like me, not famous and not with a million followers, but just like regular people going to school in New York and trying to make it through life, and just like seeing, you know, if they can do it, I can do it too.
So while in New York, we got a chance to sit down with Caroline and her dad, and we got to hear what he thinks about her channel.
I remember watching that video. We didn't know you were putting that together, and I was shocked in a really good way about how open you were able to be about your situation. And I mean, I found out so many things I didn't really know, you know, that you may have trouble communicating to us because it's so sensitive. And I just thought it was great that you were able to put it into words, and brought a tear to my eye. I got to tell you, it was an emotional experience watching that. I was very proud of you though that you did it.
I was nervous to post it. I was nervous for Mom to see it. I remember like walking into her bathroom, and her being like, Caroline, was like kind of concerned, and I was like, wait, did you like see the video? Like, I don't know, I was just nervous because I feel like I didn't know how she would respond to me like putting that on the internet. But even if it helps other people, which I love, which is a lot of the reason I do it, I think it helps me so much to like just get out the camera.
You know, I went through some crazy stuff myself, as I think a lot of kids do. 14, 15, 16, you're trying to find your place in the world.
Like in your 20s, probably until your 30s.
Just a couple of days ago, I'm still trying to ask you these questions. But no, I think it would have been really helpful to be able to tune into somebody that was having similar experiences to see how they went through it.
Super fun time.
Hey, let me tell you, first time for me here, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Really great. Humor was a big thing for me. That's kind of how I dealt with it. I was the funny guy because I saw the reactions I could get, and I would work on things to be funny.
Yeah, he like always makes a joke. And I think it's funny because in public he'll do it, and I'm like the only one who'll like see that he was trying, but he'll bomb it, and I'll just be like, Dad, like,
listen,
what was that?
Creation is a patient search, you know, you can't be great every day. So for every one good joke, there's 50 bad ones. I'm glad we can have this time to sit together and do this. This is so
it's
cool.
Like therapy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we all need a little bit every now and then, some more than others, and you know.
Yeah, and I also think it's cool because like we're both we like, I don't know, we just like messing around and making each other laugh and stuff, and I feel like this is like a fun thing to share.
One of the best days of my life so far.
So far.
The growing trend of using social media to encourage an open conversation on support, mental health, and personal struggles can be seen all across states and age groups.
I'm Mary Albertoli. I'm the executive producer and creator of The Shift, and I have about 10 years of clinical experience as a social worker, where we're with children and adolescents as well as families in the area of psychiatry.
Sometimes we're not sharing because we're worried how it's going to affect somebody else.
With lots of passion and personal experience with mental health, Mary's trying to start a unique docu-series with co-creators Maureen Iser and Nadia Sarmova.
The ratio statistics, they're just outrageous, with 56% increase in suicide in this age population over the last decade. So I said enough is enough.
To combat this epidemic, we created The Shift, a talk show docuseries that will travel the U.S. on a bus-turned-mobile studio to start candid conversations with young people about their day-to-day mental health struggles.
We don't want to suffer. Even though you're in a dark place one day, there are other people who are experiencing that not only can you help them, they can help you, can contribute, and it's through that contribution that there's a connection, and that's where the sense of affinity and love that we have for each other is spawned.
We forget that sometimes the world is not so open and accepting. So to be able to find your community, that can be a stress reliever. It's at the beginning, so we're still figuring it out. But there are so many opportunities that happen online. I think it's really beautiful that we're able to expand our own worlds.
Having a time.
I think if there's anyone watching this who's younger, same age as me, older, don't be afraid to reach out. I thought I was a burden on my friends and family for so long. Anyone, reaching out to a teacher, your best friend, your mom, your dog, even just, I mean, saying it out loud in general is a first step, and it's a great step. It doesn't have to be on a huge platform. It can be, as I said, to like the most inanimate object in your room. But I think just saying it out loud and admitting that you may need some help, and everyone needs help, I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of, is really important.
What I struggle with most has always been the concept of masculinity, because I'm not the most typically masculine man out there, but I do know a big part of enacting change is just changing the culture by accepting myself as I am, as not necessarily fitting the mold of what it is to be a masculine man, but knowing that that's all right.
My senior year of high school, I was diagnosed with a couple of mental health issues, and at the same time, my mom was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and it caused like a big rift between her trying to understand mental health while she was going through a physical illness. But slowly, as it continued, instead of it making us farther apart, it brought us closer together.
Something I recently struggled with was coming out as non-binary. So I use she/they pronouns now, and that was a really hard realization for me, but I'm slowly getting through it.
I've learned that one way to cope with depression and anxiety is to draw. And I try to motivate people through my drawings and just expose that depression.
Any person, any age, could be my age, younger, older, whatever, who has a social media account of some sort, definitely has anxiety from it. I always found myself comparing the saddest moments of my life with people's happiest moments. And they're just apples to oranges, you know, it's just not, it's not comparable, and I want people to just know that there are people that are so willing to help you, even strangers. Sincerely, Caroline.